As unfortunate as this pandemic has been globally, there really has been some positive impacts if you think about it. This pandemic created such a great opportunity for growth. By the end of this speech, you will have learned how this pandemic led to the creation of more genuine relationships with those around you. It created more hygiene and sanitization, an improvement for it, and how it helped our health and lifestyles overall. So let's get started. Before this pandemic, many of our friendships and relationships with others may have been based on certain social interactions. For example, many of your friends, if you really think about it, may have only been based on the fact that you guys went to parties together, only saw them on weekends, or would only really see them for certain theme parks or bars or clubs or going out. Now that our choices were limited since the pandemic, it is possible that many of these friendships were ended. And if you really think about it, many of your friends that you have now are probably less than what you had before this pandemic because you're forced to create more face-to-face interactions and genuine relationships with them. For example, people who were forced to stay at home were also able to create deeper relationships with their family members, especially if they weren't as connected before. Parents who used to be very busy because they were working and probably only saw their kids in the morning or the commute to school or to work are now with them maybe 8 hours or more a day, learning more about their kids. Maybe they didn't know what time they got hungry at, what type of snacks they liked having at certain times of the day, what their attitudes were like at certain times of the day. And now that they're forced to spend this much time with them, they learn more about each other and possibly even develop a better relationship with each other. Many marriages and relationships that may have been on a rough patch before this pandemic were able to connect and cause more uncomfortable conversations, led because they were spending more time with each other and possibly are doing better now. And many of friendships are also more significant now because you were forced, due to the limited amount of activities that you could do, to probably only talk on the phone. And if you think about it, many of that physical contact wasn't there, leading to only verbal conversations and verbal significance in those relationships. Now, the only positive thing were not just relationships, but also sanitization and hygiene overall. There was an improvement to that. If you really think about it, before this pandemic, we were in crowds at concerts, in the movie theater, in theme parks, elbow to elbow with other people, not thinking about how unhygienic it was, breathing their same germs, maybe touching their same germs, and not second guessing how much we could really be spreading. Now that we are forced to stay 6 feet away from each other, we're more conscious about how uncleanly it really is and unsanitary more than anything. Another thing is you're more conscious of how everything you touch, you leave your germs on. For example, if you go to a supermarket, you're always sanitizing your hands after, or we're washing our hands more often, which probably, as disgusting as it is, many people didn't do before. Now, if someone stands too close to you, you're just like, hey, step away a little bit. I don't want to get sick from you. Another thing is the requirement of masks causes us to think more about if we're sick, we're spreading our germs to other people, putting others at risk. Whether it is the virus related or not, it's still unhygienic to be standing so close to each other and spreading that out, knowing if we're sick and could spread it to someone else. The improvement of all these sanitization requirements now is making us more conscious as an environment and helping each other out. For example, when the pandemic first started and everybody was forced to stay home with the stay-at-home order, there was less cars around, meaning there wasn't as much pollution in big cities. The traffic also decreased significantly, and there was also less littering because not many people were out as much as before. This is also a very good thing for it's an opportunity for growth, as well as personal lifestyles and health. If you think about it, many people may have been forced to go to the gym, which is unfortunate if they didn't have the opportunity for it now. However, we were forced to be more interactive with our surrounding nature and Earth itself. If gyms were closed down, but you still wanted to pursue a healthy lifestyle and wanted to have more activity and fitness in your life, hikes were available or walks around your community. You got to know maybe more local areas and were able to connect more with certain trails that you may have liked, as well as picked up hobbies that you may not have had the time to do before. Many people picked up hobbies such as painting, knitting, learning to play an instrument, some type of beauty-related hobby, as well as just learning more about each other and ourselves in general. So now that we have learned about how COVID-19 and this pandemic has created an opportunity for growth in the aspect of building genuine relationships, becoming more hygienic and improving our hygiene overall, and as well as improving our health, fitness, and lifestyles, you'll remember not to be so negative about how this pandemic has affected us, but also look at the positive aspects and the opportunities for growth that have come out of it.